What do you see?
Reminds me of muskies.
I love your mind.
They call it a bucket mouse because he's got a bucket mouth.
Wow.
I just want to tell you, I've been slaying the walleye lately.
That is so hot.
Ever bumped the stump?
Suffix 832, the line that changes the game.
What them sons of fishes up to now?
Fellas, I give you the force trolling motor. It is the most powerful, the most efficient on the water.
Yep. Most powerful. We're really in trouble now.
And it's quiet, too. You can't swim here.
What a dumb bass.
G'day, Lowry from Samaki. He's going to talk about the building of their business, the design of his baits, and about some of the great zing rods that they make. So, packed full show tonight. I've got plenty of prizes. Prizes include, Carl's on the show, so we're going to be giving away a Carl jersey. I've actually found this in the archives as well. Check that out. That is a mint, unworn set of FC Series 1 jersey there, Hog's Breath Cafe, as worn by Adam Reuter. This one's not autographed, but I am going to give this away this week.
Facebook's down and
This away this week.
YouTube no video.
Sounds like we're streaming to me. Well, what do we... What's that through? So can I keep going? Come on, producer, tell me we're going. Why don't we go to an ad and we'll have a fix up. Come on, producer, tell me we're going.
We know they're out there. And we know we need to find them. We target them for different reasons. But when the line tightens, we all feel the same. feel alive. The water moves around us, and the world feels far away. We are here. We are fishing. It is a search, not just for fish, but for all things most important. For family and friends. For tradition and tranquility. For conservation and competition, all of us find what we are looking for. Yet we continue searching. We cast, and as the lure soars, our hopes soar with it. This will be the one. They tell us insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting different results. But we are not insane. The fish are still out there, and we are fishermen. We have been since we were young, and will be until we can do no more. And then, when the ice begins to freeze within us, we will
We fixed it. We had a time frame to work to. We got it done. Sorry about bombarding you with ads there, but got a new bit of gear. We had a wrong setting on it. We've just bypassed it and gone back to the old gear, and I think we're right again. We're on ABT Lockdown Live. Feeling sorry for the guys at Facebook. We can't really get that Facebook stream working again. We're going to try to get that happening. But as I was saying earlier, before we were so rudely interrupted by a smoking hot computer, we're going to be giving away this tonight, and I'm going to give that away in our first competition. It's tell us where you're from, where you're watching Lockdown Live from. I've got an AFC Series 1 jersey and AFC Series 1 cap. They're not autographed by Adam Reuter, but as worn by Adam Reuter in AFC Series 1. So that's going straight to the pool room, we reckon. What else have we got tonight? We're going to talk about the upcoming ABT events, and of course it's all dependent on Anastasia Palaszczuk's announcement on 1st of July, next Wednesday. If she says borders are open, we are in business. If she says borders aren't open, we are not in business, and we are back to postponing what we have to do. So we're going to talk about the Green Energy Hinze Bass Electric Round, which is the first one off and running. I'm going to talk to Joey Urquhart about that in a little while. We have the Eco Gear Wivenhoe Bass Pro Round, the Suffolk Bass Pro Series round. Got some great news about that event happening in a little while tonight. And of course, we're opening the brim with the Garmin Bribie round, a whole lot of Southeast Queensland events in the middle of winter, because that's when the fishing here is pretty good. Big shout out to Daiwa. Daiwa, one of the best ABT sponsors we have, has got a great event happening next week. It's their 2020 new product showcase. 1st and 2nd and 3rd of July. It's actually a product launch of a lot of cool new products. I don't even know what they are yet, but it's going to be cool. 3 nights in a row. 1st, 2nd, 3rd of July, every night that live stream starts at 6:30 p.m. So make sure you have your dinner early, sit down with a beverage and watch what Daiwa's got to offer. They're going to go through all of the new products that they're dropping, and they're going to have an in-depth discussion on all of the new releases, usually from the guys that helped design the product. So I'm sure all of the regular suspects from Daiwa are going to be there, including Tommy Slater and the product designers down there at Daiwa, going to bring you all of these new launches. And they've got giveaways. Each night they've got giveaways, but they have a really cool main giveaway. If you go to Facebook and you subscribe to the event, you say you're going to the event, I think there's already 2,500 people already have responded to the event, said, yep, I'm going to be watching the live streams. You can win, pretty sure it's about $500 worth of Daiwa gear. So, mate, for going there and clipping, I'm going to the event and then watching the live stream, you could be loaded up with a whole lot of cool new Daiwa gear. So make sure you head over to Daiwa's Facebook page. I think it's Daiwa Australia it's called, and go and respond to that event. We know you love watching live stuff. You're watching it now. And that light, let's go to a Daiwa ad, make sure while the ad's playing you're in there and telling us where you're coming from, because you want to win the kit with the AFC jerseys in it. And we're going to come back to you with a segment called Mercury Show Us Your Boat. And we've got the mercuriest guy in all of Australia doing it tonight, Chris Hickson. We hope you enjoy that.
I was going to do this for a while, so I've finally got around to it. I'm going to show you my boat powered by a Mercury outboard. Currently running a Bass Cat Era, 20 foot 2 inches, Mercury Pro XS V8 250 on the back. Essentially this is my dream boat. I've always said if I was going to have a Bass Cat, I was going to have an Era, and now that we're a dealer at Menningrove Marine, dream come true. The V8's just been an absolute weapon. Had about 70 hours on it so far. I haven't used it near as much as I'd like to have due to a few things and the lack of tournaments this year, but the time I have spent on it, it's an absolute demon. The whole shot's incredible. The fuel economy is far better than I thought you'd get out of a V8, especially a 250, and it's just been a gem. So nice little Bass Cat cover on it. Currently running a 25 trophy propeller on it. I've run a couple of props on it so far. I had my old Pro Max on it, and then I changed to this one. I've run one other prop. Still haven't decided exactly which one's my favourite, but that's time on the water and a bit of testing will fix that. Mounted to a Seastar 10-inch hydraulic jack plate. Love my hydraulic jack plates. Great for hole shot, great for shallow water running, and the Seastar's got ample power to jack that thing up even at full noise. I've run these for a couple of years now. This is the newer model, and just the fact that they're black makes it even better. Down the back of the boat, and this is where all the powerful bits to make it go are. So I'm currently running a full lithium setup in the back. There's 3 Fusion deep cycle lithiums in there, 100 amp hour, 3 batteries to run the 36 volt troll motor at the front. And over the other side there, I've got a DCS Deep Cycle Systems 100 amp hour battery as well. I did a fair bit of research when it came to these guys, and it was one of the only 100 amp hour deep cycle batteries that were guaranteed or actually stated that they're also 1,000 crank amps. So 1,000 crank amps to start the big girl over nice and easy, and 100 amp hour, which is more than enough to be able to start all the electronics on it, or keep them going all day anyway. Moving down the back, the Talon, absolute beast this thing. I held off on having a Talon for a long time. I always had a power pole, and I always loved the power pole, but then when this thing came out at 15 feet, I was like, I have to have 15 feet of pole on the back of my boat. A few little battle scars on it from a road trip right there. I had it strapped down on the tilt bracket and it ended up smashing into that, which sucked, but these things happen. Nothing we can't fix. Into the Bass Cat, plenty of storage in this thing. Rear storage is carpeted. Plenty of room to just chuck stuff. I keep my jig heads and heavier things down the back because I like the heavy stuff at the back to make my boat go faster. Massive live wells. You look in there and they don't look enormous because of the triangle hatches, but all the way down in there where the cull tags are is super deep. If I catch little bream, then they pretty much hide in there as well. At the helm, Mercury Smartcraft Vessel View 7. Tells me everything I need to know on the Mercury, all the running, all the fuel usage, temperatures. It's got integrated GPS as well, so I get the exact mileage that or kilometers per litre that we're running at. These really cool, I don't really even see them there. It's an option from Bass Cat, the Isota paddle trim and jack plate paddles on there. Instead of the old Pro trim, we've got these guys and they look sick. Hot foot as usual. I've only got the standard mechanical shift and throttle cables on this guy. Opted out of the digital, not sure why, just made it a little bit cheaper for me. Works just as good there, actually digitally actuated now. So although they're not an actual digital shift by fly-by-wire, it's just a cable that runs to an actuator down under the cowl for the gear shift and the throttle, and it nearly feels like digital anyway. Plenty of storage in the big girl. Storage hatches under the seat to chuck anything that's sort of ropes, bits and pieces. The one really cool thing about the Bass Cat is the ample cooler space. So we've got this guy here, main esky. It's a bit wet in there at the moment. I actually use that more for storage of bio baits and leader, especially when it's hot. We've got the IRA glove box, plenty of room to just chuck stuff. Sun cream, pliers, towels, rags, bits and pieces. And under that, we've got another big cooler. So I've got my big water bottle in there, keep my drinks cold. And then under the other seat, same thing, more storage. Passenger side storage there as well to chuck all their gear. And a nice little glove box underneath. Second console, this is actually a removable console. They've got a little lever up there, or two little levers, three little levers. You can undo that and actually take the console out for if I get a non-boater that I don't like. Scissor holder, dual rod lockers, starboard side to chuck all the gear, life jackets, safety gear, first aid kit, the whole show. And then you got the tackle storage. So massive tackle storage in this thing. I run boxes there and boxes there, just the 3700 size, and then the rest of it's for plastics, spinnerbaits, bits and pieces. Net storage in there that I don't ever use because I've got to get in there to get it, but it's probably handy to have a spare one because I've got a tendency to lose it. Nice little day box at the front, just to chuck anything that I think that I'm going to use for that day or that tournament. Often goes in that one. Nice and handy to get to, right next to your feet when you stand on the troll motor. And then the rod locker. So we've got 9 tubes up in there, I think it is. And then I can lay a whole heap down lower as well. To the electronics on it, I'm running 3 Humminbird setup. So I've got a Humminbird Helix 12 MSI G3 at the helm. I use that guy for all my side imaging, down imaging, and GPS. I've got an X-grip mount for the iPad, so if I ever want to run some, say, satellite mapping or for the live stream, I can chuck my iPad in there and away we go. To the front, I've got 2 Humminbirds up here. One's actually in my offshore boat at the moment because I use it for both boats. I've got a 9 for mapping, down scan and 2D, and then there's another 12 that goes there, and that runs the 360 mega, the piece de resistance of the Humminbird range. That thing has literally changed how we fish. It's bolted to the Ultrex, greatest trolling motor ever made. I'll never forget dreaming about one day having something that had servo steer and cable steer at the same time. Then they came up with this and our dreams became reality. So that's a really cool little option. This one's been done by Min Repair, so it's had the saltwater upgrade. It is completely from user error. Down to the foot pedal and the well here. I actually don't like to bolt my foot pedal down. I like to be able to get in there because we're in salt water, wash underneath it, keep it lubricated and keep it sort of as salt proof as we can. Nice little jacket there to keep all the wiring all done up nice and neat. I've got a little bit anal on this boat, to be honest. It's my pride and joy, and I've set it out as good as I can. So down to the trailer. These things are the best idea I ever had. So I saw it on Carl Jocumsen's boat, I saw it on a few of the Bass Pros boat, and I messaged a mate down in Tara and said, can you build me these and can we put them on the trailer? Just boxes for keeping our stuff in it. I've always had a big box of stuff in the back of the car, jacks, tools, power cables, all that sort of stuff. Now I have 2 of these bolted to the trailer and I'll never have to worry about carting that stuff around again. They look awesome, stainless steel, carry pretty much everything you could ever want. Down to the Bass Cat trailer, galvanised, C-channel, dual axle, dual brakes, cool looking wheels. It's just an absolute weapon. So that's pretty much the rundown of my boat, and hopefully you'll see it out on the water one day. Cheers.
There you go. Who doesn't want to see Chris Hickson's absolute weapon of a bass boat? I reckon that is the most kitted out Bass Cat Mercury combo on the entire Australian tour. And of course, you would expect no less of a Mercury and a Bass Cat dealer who is sponsored by Humminbird and all of the toys. So mate, Chris, thanks for taking the detour to your shed and showing us the Mercury Show Us Your Boat segment. And just quietly, I think that motor on the back of his boat might be going to a new home. I think he's rolling it over. So I'm not going to say who it is, but there's someone going to be rocking that 250 horsepower, 4.6 litre Mercury V8 Pro XS. Are there any more letters under it? I don't think so. We have got a super special guest on the on ABT Lockdown Live tonight. I know last week I was sitting up all weekend watching him, especially when he was on ESPN on the first night of the Bassmaster Elite Series at Lake Eufaula. We have a competition. You need to tell us, what do we need to tell us how much you want a Carl jersey? How much do you want a Carl jersey? We've got a few sizes left. We've got a few of his last year jerseys, which are basically the same as this year's jerseys. Put there in the comments, tell us how much you want a Carl jersey. It comes with a whole lot of Costa merchandise and bits and pieces, some AFC DVDs. And in the meantime, let's have a chat with Carl Jocumsen. Well, here he is, Australia's favourite Bassmaster Elite Series pro, Carl Jocumsen, mate. First of many behind you there, those blue trophies, we hope, isn't it?
Yep. Hopefully add a couple more there throughout the years and maybe an AO White and a Classic. But it's I'm definitely glad to see that sitting up there, there's no doubt.
How much media attention have you got? You know, just remember, we've always loved you and we've always given you a bit of a cut. How many people wanting a slice of the pie at the moment, mate? I saw Luke Duncan was around the other day getting you on the Big Boys show, the Boats and Pros. Tell us, how did that bullet go, mate? Did you get it up to wide open or what?
No, I should have jumped in because I'm used to driving the Bass Cat, so I'm pretty keen on the speed now. I should have given it a crack, but Luke trying to do it was as you saw, it was a pretty sketchy boat. I think it weighed some ridiculous amount. It was like basically a 250 on the back of a feather, and we were trying to drive it. But it was pretty cool. You know, he's doing a lot of great things, and he's interviewed Jason Christie, Jordan Lee, Gerald Swindle, and then me. And to be saying that right now and my name be the fourth in line in those three names is just kind of pretty amazing, you know, to me. I'm just like, this is crazy. And he did just such a great job of like that his interview and talk and getting to be in the shop here and talking about all those little experiences and just stuff I sometimes don't get to talk about. So that came across really well.
Awesome, mate. And look, I know you're in your shop there at the moment. You put a lot of work into it. Let's just, if we wind back 12 months, You were in a totally different place, mate. I want you to give the Lockdown Live viewers just a quick tour of what you got going on in the shop there, and after that, we're going to sit down and talk about Lake Eufaula Bassmaster Elite. So give us a tour of the shop.
So I've set up, my bench here, work on all my baits and lures, got the trophies and stuff up there, got all my Mustang suits and stuff that I set up there after I get back from fishing. And then I've got I've set up all my benches here. I've actually set up a full rod building station so I can fix my guides properly on my millers so they look all mint and perfect. I fixed guides for about 10 years working in tackle in Australia, so I'm good at it. So I'm just getting everything dialed, all my tackle, all of my baits, all my Molex stuff, my Molex frogs, baits up, Bassmans, everything. And I just got a big line order in. I got spooling station, everything so when I get back in, I'm just, I treat this like this is full-time, exactly what I do. And just dreamt of having this place, and I almost had it in Australia. And then I sold it all and moved over here and lost everything that I had. And to be able to get that break and build all of this stuff back up that was in my mind of like my ultimate dream place, it's slowly coming together. So got the Hobie out back here, and it stays here. I work on it almost every day, adding stuff to it, and I take it down to the lake. I just fished the lake this afternoon and caught a bunch of big ones on my signature frog. Got the Miller rods stand here with all my millers are up above the camper and in the boat. And then the Bass Cat sits there. I've actually got Josh Douglas here. He's fishing the big tournament on Chickamauga right now. So he's staying here. We're 15 minutes from the #1 lake in the whole country. And behind us, this was just a loft and it was all open. And so now that's all closed in, and our bedroom's upstairs. And then we have downstairs has a kitchen. So we just live in this shop, but the window's up there. In my bedroom, I look out and can see the Bass Cat. So that's my favorite part. And then I got my little
thin eyesight.
Yeah, it's right there and there. And then got my workout deal here. So I've been staying fit and healthy while we've been in quarantine. And then it's been a lot of fun. The quarantine's been bad and it sucks, but for us, we got married in October and back to tournaments nonstop and pretty hectic all the way leading up to the tournament. And we got to the win at 10 Killer we were able to buy this place. And the week before 10 Killer, we told the people that we couldn't buy this place and we needed our deposit back just to get through the off season. And they put $2,500 back into our account on the Wednesday of practice at 10 Killer and won that tournament. And on Monday morning, we rang them and said, we got the money. And kind of mind blowing. Yeah, they're like, how did that happen that quick? And we got this place, and it's just been an absolute dream. And for me, through all of this stuff that's going on, we've been able to work on the place, spend time. Me and Kayla spend time together and really turn this into a home and continue to fish and stay healthy and stay, on the ball and ready to go for when this season kicks on. We didn't want to be behind. I wanted to come out of this better. And that's what we've tried to do, and that's how I feel, even though Eufaula didn't go the way we hoped, but that's how fishing goes.
We'll whack the phone down, mate, and it's only because I'm going to get a bit car sick soon if you keep on holding it like that. Let's have a chat about Eufaula. Take us through the process, mate. Usually you go to a ledge tournament, you get your ass handed to you, but you've started to work this ledge fishing deal out. Tell us, take us through that tournament.
Well, the biggest thing for me is I've worked super hard on learning my graphs and basically trying to be the best angler that I can possibly be in every aspect. I never wanted to be that guy that was just decent at certain things and not at others. And that's kind of what takes a long time. If you're a specialist at something, when you run into those tournaments, you generally top 10 or win. But then you're going to run into a lot of tournaments where that is just not the deal, and it's gonna hurt you. So I've worked very hard in becoming the best I can be at every different aspect of this whole of tournament fishing and bass fishing over here. And hummingbird and mink coder and all of that, you know, I've been using hummingbird since I can remember. And I've gotten to see the graphs getting better and better and use each individual one as they progress through every year. And it's become, you know, it was in Australia, it was a huge deal for me. I feel like I was better at graphing than, you know, using my sounders than most. And it helped me on Somerset and those schooled fish and Glenbourne. And I remember a Glenbourne tournament, I was finding schools of bass on side imaging in an ABT, 80 feet out to my right and left. And also the Cania AFC, that was when it first came out, and me and Tim were Team Hummingbird. I don't know if that's the one where I won all four, but I think it was, because I was Team Hummingbird. And we idled up that river of Cania, and we had this side imaging. And we seen these like grains of rice, like left and right off the drop-offs at Cania. And we were like, that looks like bass. And that's when we stopped and we started spinnerbaiting that drop. And those giants, they were big bass sitting on that ledge. And ever since that day and that week, and I won, I knew exactly when I was going to get that bite, bringing that spinnerbait off that ledge. We found them on side imaging. And what year was that? What year was Team Hummingbird?
It was probably 12 years ago now.
But yeah, it'd have to be 12, 13 years ago. And so, you know, all of those experiences have given me a lot of confidence in my graphs. And then now I have 4 12 Solixes. I have 360, which I catch probably 90% of my fish from. I have Spotlock, Ultrex. Like, there's no excuses. I've got the best of the best gear, and I've put all my time and energy into it, and that showed at 10 Killer. I utilized every little piece of those things to win that event. Now we come to Eufaula. I've been fishing. I've been staying on the ball. My boat this year is so dialed in. I've fixed all the power problems. I've had a guy, Sonar Pros, come in, rewired the entire boat direct to batteries. I'm getting 13 volts to every unit. Like, every little thing I can do, I've been maximizing to try and be at its peak. And that's what it's doing right now. So we roll to Eufaula, the most famous ledge lake in the whole country. It's the middle of June. It's stinking hot. The water temps are in the 80s and rising. The tournament the week before gets won on offshore brush piles and ledges, and it's only getting hotter. And so the first day of practice, I roll out there and I start searching, side imaging. I find isolated brush piles on sneaky little creeks that I'm finding on Lake Master. I stop, trolling motor down, 360 picks them up. I make precise casts with my Molex jig, 3/4 ounce, and drag it through that brush pile, and donk, 7-pounder. Next brush pile, 4-pounder. Next brush pile, 5-pounder. Move a couple hundred, miss a couple, find another one, cast in there. I had 23 pounds in about 40 minutes, first morning of practice, and I was like, middle of June, Lake Eufaula, only getting hotter. This is where everything I've learned about largemouth bass. This is where they're coming. It's only going to get better. I'm all in. I'm going to look I don't want to run out of areas. I'm going to look for as many of these as I can. So that's what I did. And I searched and I marked hundreds of them. And every 20, I'd make one cast, and majority of the time, the jig wouldn't even hit the bottom. It'd just get carried away by a big one. Well, the lake rose 6 inches, and that they never usually do that at that time of year. It usually stays stable. It hadn't really rained, but they decided to lift the lake. The lake rose 6 inches, which is nothing. That moved every bass from 20 to 22 and 25 feet to 10, 12 feet and to the bank. And so every bass that I was finding literally swam up to those shallower brush piles and went shallow. And shallow looked good. And so I knew they were going to catch them up there, but I knew it wasn't going to last. Day 1, day 2, maybe it was going to, and that's exactly what happened. But they lifted it enough that those shallow fish lasted them 2 days, enough to knock me out and for them to keep going into day 3. And 15 pounds anywhere in the whole country is pretty solid. Like, if you catch 15 in some of the best places in the US, you're going to be in the top half of the field. I caught 15 pounds on the first day. I was super disappointed, but I was on ESPN and everything. And I rolled in like, man, I kept myself in it. Top half, tomorrow, make some adjustments. Everything's good. I roll in. I don't know where I was at, but I think it was in the 70s. Like, it was ridiculous. I'm like, they just absolutely smashed them. And, you know, I just learned so much that, like, no matter what happens, like, when that water rises, those fish just, and I know better, but, like, when it's that time of year and it's that lake, too many things lined up for me to say, like, literally, I didn't make a cast to the bank for 3 days straight. Like, I just locked in. And in one sense, I'm proud of myself. That's how I was confident and I did all the right things and I wouldn't have changed anything. But this is where the fine line of this kind of tournament fishing happens. There's a decision you need to make of, is it timing and do I stay there? Or is it not timing and it's gone and now I need to abandon everything? And in my heart, I was thinking it was timing, and that's what happens out there. You get on a bad rotation, guys fish in front of you, catch a couple, you can't get them, and then you hit the right rotation, or the sun comes out, or afternoon comes, and you just catch 25 pounds in 30 minutes. And so my gut feeling told me that that window was going to open for me and I was getting enough bites to be like, just bigger ones are going to come, they're going to come, and it just never happened. And on day 2, I started opening up the arsenal a little bit and looking outside the box because it wasn't happening. And I got on a crankbait bite with a big 10XD, which gets down deep. And I found this one cast and I caught them every cast for an hour. And now I was getting doubles. Like, there's 2 fish on the one bait. They're both holding on to it. And I'm getting them in and it's just mayhem. And I caught them until they stopped and I had 13 pounds. And I said, well, there's schools just like this with bigger versions of those fish in it. I just need to find it. And so I put the rest of the day into looking for that. And I just kept catching 2.5 pounder and 2.5 pounder. And it was one of those things where it's enough to keep you in. And then there's 30 minutes to go and you're like, oh no, it's like not going to happen. They're gone. And, I just learned some lessons about really making, even though when you are locked in, making sure you keep those options open and finding enough areas to where I should have been able to have enough areas to just poke up to 12 feet and fish some 12 feet brush piles and go to the bank and hit a nice stretch that had some fish and get some bites. And they're the lessons you learn over in this sport. It's crazy.
Previous ledge fishing tournaments and you've come in without a limit. So to to catch 30, 40, 50 fish and to just not have the white rate, I think you're getting in the zone where at least you're not looking for the fish. You're just trying to look for the right fish now. So we see that as a positive here as well.
Yeah.
Mate, give us before we finish off this afternoon, tell us about your next stretch. You know, like, it's a fairly compressed elite series now, but you're about to head north and you don't mind it up there, do you?
Yeah, no, about my favorite area on the planet, I reckon I'm about to head to. This is something pretty crazy. Like, if you have, this is going to be super interesting, and I'm excited for this next stretch because the most I've ever fished is 2 back-to-back tournaments. So if you have a back-to-back elite event, when you finish that, you feel like you just went 10 rounds with Tyson. Like, you could sleep for days. It's your body, your mind, everything just hurts. You're so tired, worn out. You haven't slept. It's like, it's a marathon. It's a 2-week marathon. And they have done stats that if you finish in that top 12 on that final day, you are like 95% chance of finishing in the bottom 60 in the next tournament. So it's that shows how much physical and mental energy is involved in fishing. So when we have back-to-back tournaments, the last day you finish on the Sunday, then you have to be at another lake in another state practicing the next morning. Monday morning it starts. It's ready to go. And so those guys would make top 12s, be totally beat and tired and worn out, ready to go and sleep for a couple of days, practicing at a whole new lake all day. And so you get someone that does that. They've done the stats where majority of people that finish in that top 12, they bomb the next tournament because they're so mentally worn out. We have 4 back-to-back tournaments, not a single day off if you make the top 12 cut, in a row in New York. So we got Cayuga, Champlain, St. Lawrence River, and then a Bassmaster Open on Oneida. If you make the top 12, you don't have a single day off in 4 weeks straight. So
Love it, isn't it? That's how you love it.
that's like, to me, this is like my dream. This is what I want. This is why I've stayed fit, healthy, eating right, looking after my body, continuing to fish, work on my tackle, work on my boat, and make sure everything is in line, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And it could go either way, and fishing's fishing, but I'm heading up into a place where I love and I enjoy, and I've spent months and months and months of time, and hopefully we can come out of this stint and be like where we need to be in this season and ready to roll.
Mate, so I know that's your dream. My dream is to be watching on the last of those 4 events, and you belt a couple of 6-pounders on the glide to take it home and take the absolute trophy.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, all right?
Boat flip them. Yep. It's happened. It happened in a Bassmaster Open up there, and it is possible. So I'm very, very excited about this next stint. So we were going to leave a little bit early, but we're going to leave a little bit later now, just in case something happens. But it's in New York. There's a lot of things like Virginia, Canada, a lot of other states that have rules right now. But Bass is being very, they're staying down the lines, making sure everyone stays within the rules, keeping everyone safe. And I kind of want to get up there about a week earlier and fish some other lakes around in New York, get in that groove, and then be ready to slide into the first elite event.
Mate, and we all love watching the Bassmaster coverage. The guys over there do such a great job. And whenever there's a Carl tournament on, especially if you have a cameraman on board, Australia comes to work the next day looking like they've got bags under their eyes. So
that ESPN deal was very special, and Bass is working hard to make that happen at the next 4 events. And to go from it was frustrating for me, because ESPN is in the boat, and I know like the fishing world is watching, but I know how important it is to actually catch fish, and I put that ahead of all of that. And it's so difficult when your plan is like crumbling in front of you, and you've got to try and entertain and show what you're doing and do all of these things. I was a little disappointed that it just didn't happen for me, but that's just how fishing goes, and you learn from it. And I was happy that I was on ESPN, but when you're on that first day and you're still trying to figure it out, it makes it a little bit difficult.
Just that the commentary, they did take the commentary level down a notch because they were targeting a lot of people that may not have watched fishing before. So I noticed that that Sanders and Zona really, explained a lot of the rules and took it back. And I think they worked with the anglers pretty well. It's a good system you got there, and I was stoked to get onto my Optus box over here and hit the button, and there's ESPN, and I don't have to watch Bassmaster live on the iPad or the computer anymore. I can put it on the big TV.
Straight on the TV.
Away we go.
That's cool.
So got coverage
awesome
in Australia, mate. The dreams come full circle for you.
That's pretty crazy. Even all those days on AFC, I've really they were back then. You never thought about it, but they were setting me up for these kind of days, because I don't feel any pressure. I don't feel any different. I actually want the cameras there. I want to show people what we're doing, and I love that Australia. We're on AFC, and there was helicopters and big building days for where I'm at right now.
Thing, because you still have your sleeves pulled up, mate. I wouldn't want to be a sponsor on one of your sleeves.
No.
You don't get any coverage. Look at
you
it
don't
right
get
now.
any. I'll cover you up.
It's a trait you're never going to lose, mate. Mate, thank you very much for taking the time to show us around the man cave and take us through the event. Your Australian fans appreciate it. And at ABT here, mate, we're real proud of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate all of my Australian fans, sponsors, you guys. I'll never forget where I came from, and I always try and make Australia proud, always repping the Aussie flag, and that trophy and that flag right there is what it's all about.
Awesome, mate. Have a good one.
See you, mate.
Yeah.
Rightio, we are back, and well, how great is it to have Australia's favourite Bassmaster Elite Pro, Carl Jocumsen, joining us on ABT Lockdown Live. We feel really privileged. But here's someone else who I feel very privileged to have here tonight. We've got Joey Urquhart joining us. He is just chomping down a burger off screen. I don't know if he got it down or not yet. But Joey Urquhart, mate, you're the Bass Electric man. The Casino Bass Electric series is all you. You've got some news about it starting again, and it's the very first thing which is happening in our ABT series reboot. Tell us all about Hinze, mate. The green energy qualifier down at Hinze. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I think there's going to be a lot of eager people out there listening tonight. Also very excited to hear what you have to say. So, yeah, as we all know, as long as your lovely Premier gives us the go-ahead next week, the first round off the cab will be Hinze Dam. On I think it's the 12th of June. So yeah, 2 days ago, we can't go, unfortunately.
It's all right, mate. We can still see and hear you, mate. You can keep going.
Yeah. So for basically anyone that wants to know what's going on, we've worked really tightly here with FQ Water. Like they run the show, do what they say. They say jump through a hoop, we jump through the hoop. So the big news for Hinze Dam is that it is going to go ahead, providing the Premier opens the border. Now, provision in place will be that we're going to run from one boat ramp. There was talk running it from a split boat ramp, but unfortunately that wasn't going to be productive at all. That was just going to be in the too hard basket, and that wasn't possibly done. So the first time I think ever it will be run from the eastern ramp. Now I know there's going to be a lot of excited people because it's been won. I've won it myself in the eastern 2 years in a row. So essentially it's going to be easy. We're going to be right where the fish don't have to travel. The downside to running it on the eastern ramp is we are limited to the numbers that we can have. Now, this is partly for parking and partly for the COVID situation that we have going on at the moment. So, given the current distancing, that's fine. Keeping in mind that it will be capped at 24 boats and 8 kayaks. So, that is a big must that you have to keep in mind. As we've spoken about off camera, if all goes to plan, the Premier opens the border, and all this goes in place, it's going to be a first in, best dressed entry scenario. So what that means is the week of the tournament, entries will open. It's the first in, best dressed. That's the evenest, like the most fairest way that we came up with to do it. So it's going to be a first in, best dressed scenario. So if everyone abided by the rules, fished to a boat if they wanted to, we would still have around that 50 field with the kayak. So it's still going to be a great event, and I encourage people to enter, but you have to remember that our hands are tied. Like we can't not abide by these rules. If we want to work moving forward, that's just the way we have to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, mate, and I don't think that people out there, we're not trying to get extra parking. We're working on some plans in the background to maybe improve that situation, but we're not going to promise it at the moment. Let's just assume that it's going to run with 24 boats.
Exactly, Steve. We came up with a backup plan that we may be able to park a couple of kilometres down the road, maybe up to another 10 boats, but that's not guaranteed. That's something that will be announced at a later date. And if you do miss out, just keep in mind you will be the next in line. People always drop out of these things, family commitments, whatever. Don't feel just still enter, because someone may drop out and something might happen. So definitely jump in on this when we announce it all.
Well, that's good, mate, and good news, and thanks very much for working with us to make this all happen.
Question from the crowd. They just want to know about leaving their big motors on for Bass Electrics.
Now, the question from the crowd is about big motors for Bass Electrics. Now, the question is, in Hinze, you're actually allowed to leave your big motor on. You've got to trim the motor up out. Of course, you can't use it, but I think that is... Joey's also helping us in the Bass Pro events, and we've got the Eco Gear Wivenhoe Bass Pro kicking off in the middle of June, a couple of weeks after the borders hopefully open. And Joey, that one's looking to be a cracker because we've got you doing some waymastering duties for that one.
Yes, Steve, I'm pretty stoked given the current economic situation, and not only the world but Australia, times are a little bit tough. And I reached out to you guys and said, hey, do you want a hand the rest of this year to fill out the Bass Pro Series? And we worked with that, and yeah, it'll be great to fish this year. So I'm not really that upset about fishing. It's going to be good to come and still catch up with all the guys and help you guys out at the same time.
Indeed. I've lost my picture of Joey there, but let me tell you that we have Logan's Inlet is going to be open. It's open at the moment, and it's going to be open for camping. The other questions we get from the crowd are normally, are we allowed to go fast on Wivenhoe? The answer is nope, you're not allowed to go fast on Wivenhoe. It's a 6-knot speed limit for the whole lake. The next thing is type of outboard you need. You need a 4-stroke, you need an EFI 2-stroke. You can't have a dirty old smoky carburetted motor in that lake. But what we can do is we can run a tournament. It can have all of our COVID rules, which are going to be available on the website next week. We won't have a briefing per se. The weigh-ins will be a little bit modified, but we will get you guys out on the water fishing a tournament. So that's exactly what we having to happen out there. And Joey, Wivenhoe, mate. We've had electrics there before in the past. There are giants in that joint. What are you expecting to come out of that place? There's some big fish in there. Yeah, look, we're really looking forward to it. Wivenhoe's had some really awesome days in the last couple of seasons. I know before Somerset last year, people were going there on the way to Somerset and just whacking heaps of big fish. So it's a moody mistress. We don't know what's going to happen. But Joey, I think that that's about all I need to talk to you about tonight. I know you need to attend to some family matters in there, mate. I think the young fella's feeling a bit crook, mate. So thanks for making the time to join us tonight. I think the segment sort of worked. We'll modify the way it happens, but we'll see you at the first Bass Electric of the year.
No worries, Steve. Appreciate having you guys on. And as I said, guys, put your entries in once we open. I love to see everyone there. Unfortunate the circumstances that we have to deal with, but hey, fishing's our passion. Let's get out there, enjoy it, and do the right thing by the law.
That's awesome, Joey. Thank you very much, and thanks very much, Nicole, for making that happen. It's the first time we've tried it. It's we didn't succeed that well, but you know, it's a work in progress in the new studio. We've had a few technical glitches tonight. We're trying a lot of new gear. Let me talk a little bit as well about the third of the ABT events, which are going to be coming up when we reboot our season. That is the Garmin Bribie Island Qualifier. It's in the school holidays up here. It's in the middle of winter. There should be plenty of schooling fish around. And again, as long as that border's open, we'd love to see a lot of you guys from down south come up and try out winter Queensland fishing. Winter Queensland fishing is all about having a jumper on first thing in the morning, but by 9 o'clock you've got it off because it's 20, 23, 25 degrees. We like those sort of winter days up here. Like all of the event, enter it. If the Premier doesn't open the border, we will refund your money. We'll give you some entry credits, whatever we have to do. We are going to be flexible enough to make sure if we have the opportunity, that opportunity is going to happen. So let's go to an ad, and when we come back, we're going to have Josh from Bluefish Imports, makers of the great brand Samaki, join us on ABT Lockdown Live.
Hi, I lost a big fish earlier today. Wasn't using suffix. It was about this big.
Look, slow down there, cowboy, okay? A fish in the lost it van, huh? You want your fish. Sorry, honey, that fish is gone.
Always use the best line, suffix 832.
Well, we've all heard of the brand. We've heard of Samaki. Some of us may have heard of Bluefish Imports, the company behind it, but I guarantee that not many of you have met this guy before. This is Josh Lowry from Bluefish Imports. Josh, thanks for coming out of your secretive bubble, mate. And it's great to introduce you to ABT anglers because you're a great fisherman and you're a great supporter of what we do.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, no, obviously I tend to keep low profile and everything, but you've convinced me to jump on here and show a few new products off today, and obviously introduce myself to the ABT crew that we obviously sponsored the last few seasons.
Well, mate, I see a lot of similarities in what we've done. We've all, like ABT started with an idea, your company started with an idea, and I think, give us a bit of a history of Bluefish. Did it start in your garage, mate? It started pretty close to home, didn't it?
Yeah, I was, I guess I was working in retail, and I was working in retail for 13 years, and I just saw I always had an idea to start a brand in Australia, and I took the leap and resigned from my job. And we basically started in a garage, not even our garage, because at the time our house didn't have a garage. So we used some friends' garages, which was pretty funny. So we started out. I traveled overseas, started development for the first year. That was probably my favorite year of the business, because I literally got to fish like 6 days a week because I was waiting for the stock to get here. And then it sort of all started to rock up, and we basically just worked our way through it. I hit the road and lived in my car for probably 3 years, just traveling from Geelong to Bundaberg, I think was my area that I run, and just when it introduced and learned the market. But we're starting the garage, and slowly we just thought, we built a garage at our own house, and we're done. We're going to pretty much run it from here forever. And 6 months later, we realised that's not going to happen. And we've moved several times since. So we've got a warehouse eventually, and 300 square metres, and then we got a 600 square metres, and now we're in over 1,000 square metres, and we're moving next year as well to a larger premises again. So it's been we've been very lucky, and we love the ride. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and we can see out the window there you've got your soon-to-be relocated warehouse again, mate. Like, there's a rule, I think, when you're a growing company, too much space is never enough, because if you get the space, you will fill it with something.
Yeah, we like every time our first warehouse we went into, we're like, we will never fill this ever, and then we come here and we're like, we're definitely not going to fill this one, and it's pretty crazy to think that we're actually going bigger again, but. Obviously Australian anglers have got behind us, and it's helping us grow. It's been as I said, overwhelming. So
that's good, mate. A lot of the ABT anglers will be familiar with some of your hero products, like your Zing rods. There's probably not too many of us that don't own one or have fished with one. Take us through the birth of Zing, mate. They're a very suitable rod for Australian fish. Tell us about the design process and how it came to be.
Yeah, well, Zing was original. So when the company started, I started with 16 rods. We had 4 offshore rods. I had 6 Zing rods. So we had like a 2 to 4 kilo, a snappery sort of rod, a medium sort of medium estuary light offshore rod, and that range was straight away as soon as we introduced it to the market. It took off. We had the camo grips, was kind of our bit of a signature thing back then. No one really had camo grips in the industry. And we've just grown it, and being obviously an angler myself, I'm extremely fussy on blanks and actions, and over time we just improve, and I've learned more technology. New carbon comes out from Japan, and it's grown to, I think just the Zing rod is up to around over 30 different blanks, so I was going through my blank data the other day, and I've developed over 370 blanks since we started the company, so it's like people don't realize how much work goes into one blank. It's like, especially for us, we have very strict QC, and it takes a long time just adjusting guide sizing, actions, it's just for different, obviously, lures, as the ABT anglers know, that there's lots of different rods for different applications. But it's just progressed, as new guides come out, everything's come out. We've just sort of progressed with, obviously we use a lot of Japanese componentry, obviously Fuji being a major supplier for us. And it's just progressed. And then we've brought out higher quality rods, so Zing Extreme. So that's become kind of was our flagship rod. And now we've gone a step higher than that now into C12, which is our premium sort of, 40-ton Toro carbon, and just the best of the best you can buy, but still, obviously, being the Samaki brand, we offer exceptional value for money.
Yeah, they always have been a good rod for a good price, mate. Something else, the Samaki brand, I always think the Vibalicious vibes, mate. Like, and you hit the market at exactly the right time with those. Like the North Queenslanders learnt that that these soft vibes were all right. You make the small ones for the brim and bass guys. Is that your best-selling lure that you do? I'd have to assume it's up there.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. We've obviously grown that range pretty big. Not an easy lure to fine tune, even though they look very, very common, very easy. A bit of lead inside, a plastic. It's not as simple as that. But I remember testing one. We're actually fishing Clarihall Dam electric bass comp. I was fishing, and I literally just received 7 samples that I had like within 0.2, 0.4 of a gram difference in weight, slightly different eyelets, and I had literally, they were opaque white, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 written on the side of them. I tested them in the pool, as I always do, to see what I think was the best. And obviously, I feel like if you can get a shut-down bass to bite, you're on a winner. That's always been I grew up bass fishing. And if you can get a shut-down school of bass to nibble on something, it pretty much works in a lot of different situations. So, on that comp, I basically started fishing. We found the school of bass very late in the evening. So we let it go because they were already spread out. So I hit it first thing in the morning. Went back with obviously number 2 was the standout.
Yep.
We had a couple of other mates that were there fishing with obviously other plastics and ice jigs and all different technique. And I pulled 6 bass in before anybody had hooked one fish, and it was a bit of a pretty exciting time for us. We've done well on the comp purely because of this number 2 opaque with the big number 2 that I have hung up in my garage at home.
Yep.
And and we obviously went into mass production, and it's been pretty successful since then. We've obviously added way too many colours to the range. Just obviously we've got a big country and it's very diverse. What different areas we want. So. And we introduced the 85 mil and the big 150 mil that we released last year that we offered at the trade show. So, but it's obviously a pretty big series. There's a lot of models, a lot of colours, but they're deadly. And it was a very winter driven thing, vibes, but we actually sell them all year round. People find applications for them all year round now. So.
And I think, in my opinion, one of the most standout colours you have in the Vibalicious is that, like, the white pilly colour. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's that beautiful clear opaque with the, I grew up fishing on the north coast of New South Wales, and they used to, beach net those white pillies, and we'd be down at the pros grabbing a bucket of them saying, thanks, guys, let's have some of your leftovers. But that is a dead ringer, isn't it? It must be one of your...
Yeah. So a white bait was our first sort of colour, and it literally exploded. It was we matched the hatch, obviously they look so real, silver cheeks, lateral line, and it just catches everything. We've had even bass eat them, which they don't even eat on, but it's a very successful lure. So we try to replicate, obviously have your UV and your bright colours, and we also throw in some natural colours there and we've grown that range. We've got like a little yakka now, a little salmi mackerel, new hardy head. The hardy head has gone. I had a photo from 2016 that Instagram, someone on, it might have been Facebook back then, on social media, sent me a photo of our whitebait Vibalicious that had caught a hardy head in Lake Macquarie, and it was just the best photo because it had come out of the water. It was just fresh as on a dark background, and he sent it to me, and the hardy head was the same size as the lure. So I took a screenshot and I've saved it, and over time we've developed the colour hardy head to match that exact one, and it's still been the best reference. And it's obviously it's actually becoming one of our best selling colours now.
It's awesome, mate. I love the process. You're involved with ABT this year. You've got some cool lures coming out for the BARRA side of things. But before that, I'd like to announce to everyone watching the show that the Queensland Open, of course, has been rescheduled a couple of times due to COVID, but now it's sitting on the 15th and 16th of August. The Samaki Queensland Open, mate, and one of your sponsored anglers, Jamie McEwen, he's got that trophy sitting at home at the moment. I think he was pretty happy that he got to keep it for an extra few months because of the COVID stuff. But your relationship with Jamie McEwen must be great to support an angler with so much hardware on the shelf.
Yeah, no, Jamie's been obviously awesome supporter for us from day one. He's an unbelievable brim fisherman and all-round fisherman, I shouldn't really say he's a brim fisherman. He can do everything.
Yeah,
but obviously, coming to the Australian Open, last year, he's pretty happy about it. But no pressure, but obviously he has to definitely win it again this year because we are sponsoring it. Otherwise, it'll be a letdown. So, Jamie, no pressure, but yeah, you're on.
He's on notice, and look, it happens all the time. The naming sponsor of the event, their anglers typically do pretty well. So let's see if we can ride that karma to another victory this year. There are a whole lot of guys watching this show that are saying, "No, that's not going to happen. We're gonna give it a race that parade." Take us through your. You've got a few new baits there, and a lot of the guys on the show like seeing these new baits. So I'll get you to run through some of these new baits you got in there, all the way from bass and brim up to barra. I want you to hold them nice and close up to the camera and just tell us what's coming out.
Yeah, so a new series. Anybody following on social might have seen these new lures. So this is a new range of lures that we've been working on for a long time now. But yeah, called Reddick. And we sort of, when we started making them, we between me and a few friends, we have this, like when something's really good, we say it's ridiculous. So we've kind of shortened it to Reddick, and then obviously we're playing on it that, they are ridiculously good. So, but yeah, big range. As you said, like brim bass. So like we start off with a 60 mil MS60, which is obviously like a 1.5 meter diving suspending lure. So obviously really good on the bass, big brims, and, obviously all around estuary. We also have a deeper version in a 60 mil. So, guys, down this way, I know we've had a lot of success already in the bass scene. They've only been out of, literally on the shelves for 2 or 3 months, but the prototypes, our gun local Lake Macquarie angler Dan Guilfoy has been up fishing Lake Sinclair and Lake Glenbourne, and we've had really good success just working those hard edges.
Yep.
On those, 80 mil, obviously 80 mil, 3 meters. You'll see when we go up to the 80 mil model, the hooks jump up in strength. So this is a brand new hook. When we started designing this lure, we basically, when you've got to get everything perfect, you need to have the hardware that you're going to make. So BKK actually made us a sample set of this hook, so we knew exact weight of them for mass production, and then everything internally and air cavity and everything is adjusted so we can get the perfect action and perfectly suspend as well, because it's not easy to make every lure suspend perfectly. But obviously strong split rings and huge color range. But there's also a 100 mil model as well, and a 120. This is the 120, but very different as far as I believe no one's ever produced a range of lures, especially Aussie company, that we've tried to nail the action from all the models. So right from the 60 mil to the 120 mil, the action is very consistent. So and obviously our fish, we know, obviously it's my thing. I study actions on lures, being a bit of a lure rat, and I have thousands of lures that I've when I was young and been in the fishing tackle industry. But obviously we've basically implemented all the good points from all lures, and we've created a Aussie design lure here that catches everything from basically, as you said, brim right up to big bar and stuff like that. So there's also a SF series, which is a SF standing for shallow floating. This is a 90 mil model. But yeah, obviously really good for the flats guys, flathead, all that sort of stuff, especially the barras. 125 mil. Same using those 4X BKK hooks, and right up to the 150, which is it's a bit of a crossover, this lure, like the being 150 mil, 3 hooks. So down our way where we are, Central Coast, New South Wales, Newcastle, mid-north coast, we spin this for jewfish. So it's got, it's got a fair bit of weight in it. It's like 35 grams. But obviously predominantly designed for like trolling, like Darwin, especially like Darwin, their runoff. They have to. Originally, we designed it with a sliding weight to get more distance in casting, but a few of our pro anglers in Darwin testing them, they run really fast up there. They can run 4, 5, 6 knots, some of them, which you'll see. And we had a problem with the movement internally, so we had to change it to a fixed weight to get the perfect action, so it can pretty much do everything. But they still cast really well for the guys down here chasing dew. But yeah, obviously in store now. All your online guys have got them, but you'll see them, they'll flow through the shops. But yeah, huge color range, and obviously being us, we've implemented a lot of the colors from our Bible issues, like we spoke about the white bait, the hardy head, a few few old favourites back, like back in the day, this colour here. A man stretch 10 was like my standout lure. You know, it was the grey ghost. They caught everything. So we've sort of done a bit of a twist on it. You know, with a grey back, UV orange belly with a hot foil silver cheek on it. Yeah, so we've kept your traditional colours, but we've also got some pretty funky colours in there as well.
Well, that's awesome, mate. And it's really good to see that you've got the hardware right. Like, you can pull these out of the box and fish them. There, too many $20 or $30 lures. You've got to pull out the box, tear the hardware off, get it right. You know, it's just good to be able to tie something on and go fishing with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the whole thing with this series. You know, a lot of the lures made are not made for our market. You know, and it's not a design fault. It's just they're designed for different species. You know, where we in Australia we have big fish that pull hard and break stuff. You know, so we've had to design it. You know, we design it the other way. We got the hardware, and then we built it around the hardware. So
that's awesome, mate. Look, thank you very much for coming and showing your face on here, mate. It's taken us a while to get you on, but we've got you on. Just give us a quick shout out to your socials. I know you're pretty active on the social media. What's your Instagram and other social pages so that people can come and check your stuff out?
Yeah, so Samaki Fishing, at Samaki Fishing, you'll see us on both Facebook and Instagram. We're obviously very active. We have, hundreds of messages a day, I would say, but we love it. We love it. My partner, Kate, she controls most of the social. I jump in every now and then, but it's pretty funny. Some of the guys get on there and chat to her and think it's me, and there's a few laughs in between. But, obviously, send us a DM. You know, obviously we love to hear. We love getting photos of our product in fish's mouth, or, you know, rods being bent, even our apparel, whatever it is. You know, definitely jump on, follow us, and we'll give you a shout out where we can.
That's awesome, mate. Now, just one final thing I've got is Kate just hanging out of shot there. You can get Kate to shove her head in and say good day to everyone. So we can see who's behind the socials. Come on. We want the scoop here. There she goes. I can see her. Here she comes. There you go. So there, everybody, there's the real brains behind this company right here.
No, far from it, but we're definitely a good team. So we
make a good team.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. And I really think the public enjoyed meeting both of you at the public day at the trade show last year. So when trade shows are on again, hopefully next year, we can see both of you guys and come and check out what you've got new for us. So thanks very much for being on the show, Kate. And thanks very much for being such great supporters of ABT.
No worries at all.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, there you go. What a bloody legend, Josh from Samaki. You will notice on the ABT banners right there, Samaki been a great sponsor of ABT for the last few years. We're looking forward to putting some of their gear through their paces up on the BARRA tour, and it's going to be a great time. So thanks very much for Josh. I know Josh is online now on their YouTube channel. He is there. He can answer any of your questions about, and he might be able to help you with the answer to this question. I'm going to ask you a question. What is your favourite Samaki bait? And I've got... Look at this. This may be a Samaki prize pack that I've stolen out of the Mandurah Brim Round one. It may be. There's some of the boom baits there, some of his leader. But I've also got some of the famous Vibalicious vibes here. I've got 3 sort of thready to flatty to barra size vibes to give away to someone. And I'm going to throw some other merchandise in there as well. Tell us in the comments what is your favourite Samaki bait, or you know what, I'll even say what is your favourite Samaki Zing series rod. Your favourite Samaki product, let us know what it is, and you will be in the running to win this great prize. Remember, there are other competitions we're having tonight. Tell us where you're from. You can win yourself a great AFC jersey and merchandise pack. This is it here. It's the unworn, totally mint, hasn't even been put on a Reuter, so it hasn't got any smell in it. It's the Hog's Breath Cafe Series 1 AFC jersey, collector's edition. Only 3 of them left. Well, there's 2 of them left after I give this one away tonight. And also the Carl jersey. Tell me how much you want to win yourself a Carl jersey and a Costa merchandise pack here. And you will be in the running for that. We're going to draw all of those prizes after an ad from our sponsors and after we visit Kim McIntyre from Albany in Western Australia.
If you're Mark Healy, you don't just live on the water, you live for it. You get up, get your shades, grab a spear, grab a boat, grab a friend. Okay, take a breath. Hold it. Hold it. Here, hold this. Go, go, whoa. All right, now find something to jump on. It's probably too high. It wasn't too high. Time to get going? Time to keep going. How's that feel? And now this is living. For those who need water to breathe, Costa sunglasses.
Well, you know that we haven't had enough West Australian content on ABT Lockdown Live, so it's time to reverse that. And who better to get than well, we call him the actual Mayor of Albany, but he's only the figurative Mayor of Albany, Kim McIntyre, mate. Welcome to Lockdown Live, and it's good to be talking across a couple of time zones here.
Yeah, it's always good to talk to you, Steve. I love talking fishing to anyone.
That's it, mate. And we didn't have to twist your arm this far to make it all happen. I think the biggest news for you guys, though, is running your WA Brim Classics. You guys are the first of the ABT family to be back and running. You had a great tournament at the Blackwood River last weekend, mate. Explain how it went. What was the attendance like, and what was the fishing like?
Well, we had 20 boats, and we probably would have got more, but we were going to run it at Mandurah, but we couldn't get it organised in time with all the approvals. One of the places we run it from, we needed to talk to them, and with COVID, they weren't around. So had to do some quick manoeuvring, and were able to organise it at the Blackwood. And we were pretty happy with 20 boats, considering that I think we would have got 25, 28 if, it had been scheduled normally. But we did one-day events, and it was really good.
It's a long way from Perth. Like it's like a 4.5 hour drive to Perth. So to at short notice get that many boats to fish that system, I reckon was a great effort. For all the guys over at the East Coast that don't know the Blackwood, just give us a bit of a rundown on that system. I think it's one of the most beautiful places that we fish on the ABT tour. Give us a rundown on just what that joint's like.
Well, you've got the biggest river we've got. So the river is pretty long, and you can go, I reckon, 10 k's along it, fish every bit of it. It's littered with snags and big trees that fall in there. It's quite deep in places. And then you've got some shallow flats up the front, and that has got a lot of reeds and paper barks. So you get the whole variety of fishing.
And I think what my lasting memory of that joint is if you throw a big deep diving crankbait along the edges, it is basically going to death's door, because if something hits it, all the snags are covered in barnacles. How many lures do you think have been lost in that joint over the years?
I couldn't count them, but we do have a phrase that with the Blackwood that you've been wooded, and if you chuck in a plastic or a vibe or something, and you get a good bite, because the fish are really aggressive, you don't even feel it. You just feel the weight, and it's taking you into a snag that's just cut you off, and you wouldn't know what it was.
Yep, and especially if you're using something like a $30 plus OSP dunk or a chubby or something like that, it's like, oh, it hits you right in the heart, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's an expensive place to fish, but it would be my favourite place to fish.
Now, something else for the East Coast is they probably don't know that's one of the few venues in Australia that actually gets stocked occasionally by some of the WA authorities. Tell us about the stocking program and what goes into that joint.
Well, they've only done it twice. It was really, really poor in about 2000, and they stocked it in 2001 and 2000. They put a lot of fish into it. So now it's got a lot of fish, but like a lot of places that we go to, the numbers of big fish can decline a bit from time to time. And it's very seasonal. Sometimes you get good ones. But I mean, I just saw a video of someone catching a 44. No, that wasn't there. It was somewhere else. Sorry.
Yep.
There's usually plenty of 40s caught. Yep. But getting a little bit smaller, but lots of fish.
Now, while we're on the topic of WA venues, it looks like we're going to be going back in 2021 to our standard double header down in the southwest. You know, Mandurah this year was unfortunate because it was right at the state shutdown part, and we couldn't run that tournament. And it's sort of not the right time, and we can't reschedule it this year. So we're going to hit WA with a bang again next year in 2021. Tell us a little bit about that Almani Fishery and how compact it is really. Like, there's so many good little fisheries in the southwest that if you're an East Coaster and want to come across and sample some of the WA's fishing, that Albany and Blackwood River provide a great place for a double header, don't they?
Yeah, really, really good. Albany's got some flats fishing, but mostly the better fish are in the river at the moment. But there's last competition we had in Albany in November, we had 12 fish over a kilo caught.
Yep.
And there wasn't there was only 20 boats doing that because it was a grand final.
Yeah.
So Albany can really turn it on. And as you found out last time, if the weather's not right, it gets really hard.
Yeah, indeed. That was
So-
my most recent donut at that joint, and that's a turnaround because the time we fished it before, I came first in that event. So it goes to show you, no matter how good you think you are, these fish can sit you on your ass at any time.
Well, I think you find that pretty much in any venue, don't you?
Yeah, possibly. I think last year, the good thing about Albany last year was Al Lister from Canberra. He ended up winning that event. He could have stopped fishing after day one after catching a 4-point-something kilo bag up the King River there. He didn't even have to go out fishing on the second day. That's how, if you get onto the good fish there, you're onto some good patches, aren't you?
Yeah. Al did the hard work coming from over east and looked up at a different river because there's two rivers, the King River, and he absolutely smashed it on day one.
Yep.
So it was all over after day one.
Yeah.
We all knew, didn't we? But
now let's have a little bit of a chat about your nickname, the Mayor of Albany. I think I may have bestowed this upon you because when we come to Albany, we're not allowed to do anything without running it through Kim because Kim knows everyone and he knows the best place to go and eat and the best place to fish. And if you don't ask Kim, you're doing yourself a disservice, mate. How's your re-election campaign going at the moment?
I've only got to convince you. You're the one that bestowed it upon me.
Mate, we really appreciate when we come to Albany, you basically invite the whole field around to your place for a big feast and you end up leaving with a full belly and sore jowls because you've been laughing so much. It's a really good social event over there as well. And we really appreciate you inviting a lot of the East Coasters across. Albany must be the most hospitable part of Australia thanks to you, mate. So big thanks to you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I just love talking to everyone about their different experiences, and it makes the event really fun to have a good social event with it. I think. Only thing is, you missed out last time.
Yeah, I know. Mate, we had too much work on and couldn't get it all done. Now, you're noted also for not being afraid to travel, mate. You came to you travel a little bit to make sure you qualify for the grand final, and you always give it a good shot in the grand final. You went to Tasmania most recently, all the way from WA. A couple of WA guys have come across over the years. How did you find that road trip? Because you're sort of in a pretty good part of the world for black bream fishing. How did Tasmania rate compared to southwest Western Australia?
I think Tassie's different, very different, but they're black brim. They like much the same thing. And I thought it was a really beautiful part of the world as well. And I really enjoyed it. I'd love to go back there again.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, we all go to Tassie saying, look, I'll just do it once and that'll be it for me. And then normally as you're coming back on the Spirit or you're flying home, you're already planning your next time to go there because you may not put the big ones in the live well, but you normally see them or someone else catches them. You're only ever a couple of inches away from, a really, really good day in that joint.
I find when I go away, it doesn't matter where I go, I want to go back because I learnt so much and I want to do a fair bit better. That's the hardest thing about going away is doing your homework and sticking what you know to that system and trying to work it out that way. That's the challenge.
Now, the other thing you guys do over there is you run the WA Brim Classics, but you also help Hobie out a lot, and you run their West Australian qualifiers for the national, the Hobie Brim Tour. Kayak fishing in WA has been on a real increase, hasn't it? Like a lot of guys are enjoying it and using it as an extra branch to their fishing.
Yeah, we're finding, the fields for kayaks probably get up to 40 and the boats about 25, but we're starting to see young guys get into kayaks and then they go across to our boat comps because all our boat classics are two people and it's a shared, they contribute equally or to the weight and that seemed to be growing both competitions.
Mate, the last question I've got for you is ABT's motto, of course, is who shares wins. And when you come east or when people come across and fish in WA, you get to share the boat with a lot of different personalities and learn a lot of different techniques. How has that improved your fishing? Because I know that, in your own areas, you like using your certain techniques, but all of your travel must have increased your repertoire, I'd say.
Oh, it definitely has. I mean, just in the last tournament, what I learned from Tasmania, that jerk baits work a lot better than I thought they do. And in the last tournament, I was jerk baiting just off some reeds and blackwood. You know exactly where I'm talking about. And waiting on the pause, something I didn't used to do that much. I usually slow roll, and jerk baiting really worked, and that's a technique that I didn't used to use as much.
Well, as usual, ABT is costing you a lot of money in extra baits and lots of extra new ideas. So we don't apologise for that, mate, and we really enjoy opening Brimmer's horizons to these new techniques.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot when you go away, whether it's as a boater or a non-boater. But most of all, it's just a good trip. It's a very social experience as well.
Yeah, awesome, mate.
Not about winning. It's about competing.
That's awesome, mate. Look, we really appreciate your hospitality. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule this morning, mate. I hope people aren't out the front of the shop shoplifting all the sport and gear, mate. So I'm going to let you get back to that and do it. And thank you very much for joining us on ABT Lockdown Live.
You're welcome, Steve. Thanks.
There you go, West Australia, what an absolute gem part of the world. We're really looking forward to getting back there in 2021. We're going to have another comp for you. I'm going to announce all of the previous 3 comp winners in a second, but we got one more comp tonight. I want you to tell me where your dream place to go fishing is in WA. It doesn't have to be bream fishing, doesn't have to be the Blackwood or Albany. Could be Exmouth, could be Broome, could be Kununurra, could be any of those awesome places in the West. I'm just bragging that I know all the places. We've got a West Australian fishing magazine. I knew nothing about it apart from the bream areas, but now I'm aware of how awesome that big, desolate desert of a coast is. There's a few places I want to go. Personally, want to go to Exmouth. Looks bloody awesome. But let me know where you want to go, and I have got a Fishing Monthly kit. I've got a Fishing Monthly shirt in your size. Look at this. This is the kit I've got for this prize. We've got a Mercury cap here. I've got a couple of AFC DVDs, stubby coolers, Costa staff, and a Fishing Monthly shirt in your size. So worth winning. Let us know in the comments your favourite place to go fishing in WA. Now let's talk about the comps we've already had. I've got some winners here. All of you guys that win, I want you to send us a message on our Facebook page, Australian Bass Tournaments Facebook page. Tell us your shirt size, if it's a shirt prize, and tell us your postal address. Don't do it publicly unless you want people to send you money to that address. Don't know if that's what happens. But Trent Collins from Nanango, you won the Where Are You From prize. That's the Hog's Breath Cafe Series 1 jersey. Trent Collins from Nanango, send us your address. Don't need to send me your shirt size, you're getting that shirt right there. Next one, the Carl jersey. Had plenty of entries for this one. And I've got an honourable mention tonight. Very close second place was Bill Latimer. He said it would be Jock Awesome to win it. I appreciate that. That's my sense of humour. Bad luck, Bill. You got topped out by Mark McKay, who says, I want it more than Morgo wants a live stream just to work. Ain't that the truth? You've got a rare grasp of this mind here, Mark. Mark, send us your address you want it posted to. Send us the size and we're going to get as close as we can. We haven't got all sizes in left. We've got a few left, but we'll find as close as we can to your size. So thank you very much, Mark McKay. And the Samaki comp, plenty of guys there letting us know what their favourite Samaki is, via the boom bait, a zing rod. I know Josh was in there letting out some trade secrets on the chat. Thank good on you, Josh. Release it through us, mate, not through the YouTube chat. Colleen Crofts. Now, if Colleen, good luck. You told us your Vibalicious Thumper Tail 125mm was your favourite. If Colleen's just really the pseudonym for Mr. Crofts fishing as well, that's cool. Pretend you're Colleen for the moment. We don't discriminate against any gender at this joint. So send us your address, the Colleen Crofts user on YouTube. Send it to our ABT Facebook page, Australia Bass Tournaments, and we're going to get you the awesome Samaki pack, which is a recycled ABT prize pack from an event we had to call off from COVID, and 3 great Vibalicious baits. Remember the next comp, this is the last comp for tonight. Tell us your favourite part of WA that you want to go fishing in, and we've got one last prize pack for you. Now this is the one that everyone's been waiting for, of course. Everyone loves watching ABT Lockdown Live and seeing the old, what are the old AFC guys doing now? What are they up to? Well, we've got Jace Wilhelm on, who was the first ever winner of a BARRA tournament. He was an AFC competitor for a few years, and he was a BARRA guide who has put more BARRA slime on his deck than you guys will see in a lifetime. Let's have a chat to Jason Wilhelm.
All right, here he is. He's been a stalwart of ABT over the years. He's lived everywhere from New South Wales to Queensland, caught everything from Barra to Blue Marlin. Jace Wilhelm, good to have you on Lockdown Live, mate. Good to track you down. You're living in Tweed Heads now, aren't you?
Yeah, g'day, Steve. Look, firstly, thanks for the opportunity. Obviously, it's a great thing to catch up and discuss some pretty historic times for, I guess, my career, and also, the early ABT days, particularly for BARRA. So, yeah, thanks for having me on. And, yeah, obviously living in Tweed Heads now.
Yeah, and look, mate, I suppose from an ABT point of view, your claim to fame is you won the first ever ABT BARRA event that we had on Lake Eufaula back in 2005, I think the year was. And then after you did that, you were gracious enough to take out my poor old mate Gary Boyd from America, who'd struggled to catch a fish, and whacked a few really nice barra with you, mate. So not only were you a champion angler, you're a champion bloke back then, mate. It was a great experience that time, wasn't it? ABT BARRA coming to life.
Absolutely, Steve. And, I actually, if we want to go back that far and probably delve back a bit further, AFC was something that I heard about through Steve Starling. And I lived next door to him in Gerringong. And basically, one day I come home from work and there's this boat parked out the front of Starlow's house. And it was, I can't remember the exact details, but it was sponsored by NetSpace and had, it had the Min coders, it had the sound. Look, it was way ahead of its time. I'd never seen anything like it, not in Australia. And I remember thinking, what's the go with this? So I spoke to Steve and he explained what the AFC was. And at that time, it just lit a whole heap of fuses, and I was just like, wow, I'd love to be part of that one day. And I guess if you fast track, a year later, I moved to Gladstone and whispers started coming around and about ABT BARRA, actually coming to the fore and actually really happening. So for me, it was a prime opportunity to chase a dream that I'd made only, a year or so earlier. But, history proves that, if you have a dream like that and you put yourself in the right position, that things can happen. And I guess that's really how it happened for me.
So what was you doing in Gladstone working? Tell us what your job was. You weren't far away from BARRA and the salt, were you, either, with what you did?
That's right. Look, obviously I've been a fisherman my whole life, but I spent some time in the Navy. So I spent a lot of time at sea and I was working on charter boats and that sort of thing back in Wollongong on the south coast of New South Wales. And I was based in Sydney for 4 years on HMAS Sydney. So I spent, 3.5 years overseas, on deployments and stuff. I got out of the Navy and then decided to take my career to the water side, to the wharves. So, through a lot of hard effort and being in the right place at the right time, I got a job on the wharf. And then in Gladstone, a company called Camalco built this, U-Butte brand new refinery. And through some research, I thought, this place looks all right. It's got BARRA up there, this Hinze Dam, which was quite new. And back then there was very little even spoken about it unless you went looking for it. So I started researching, went, wow, look, this could be a really good opportunity for myself and also my wife. And we didn't have kids at the time. So essentially we just packed up and Rio Tinto moved us to Gladstone. And then, within a week, I had myself a tinny and I was on the dam looking for these BARRA that were supposedly in these waters, but simply wasn't like that. It wasn't that easy to find them, that's for sure.
That's right. Now, look, AFC BARRA, like you won the first ABT BARRA event, but it took a few years for it to get you onto the AFC BARRA in front of the scenes. But I'll tell a story now that you used to help us out behind the scenes as well. And when the guys were out there trying to catch a BARRA, and I needed to call someone to say, I need a BARRA for Starlo to do a piece to camera with. Can you come and catch us a BARRA? Because these guys on the show are struggling a bit. You'd rock up and at about 5 casts, you caught about 1.10 BARRA for us. And we got Starlo across and did a piece, mate. So I don't think anyone really knows that story, but you were the man we called when we needed to get something actually caught. So it was good to see you help us behind the scenes, but then eventually qualify and get on the show.
Yeah, look, and I guess it was highly motivating for me to have the caliber of you guys, wanting some help, and to see people like Steve and yourself, your brother, and all the quality anglers around, obviously being in my backyard, if there was an opportunity for me to help, it was an opportunity for me to learn and to see how everything works. So, yeah, it was those early days was fun, and it was certainly good to meet a lot of those anglers. A lot of those guys I would have never met before. So I guess for me, it really sustained the energy that I wanted and needed to push forward to try and get a crack at AFC, which, like I said, was a dream.
Yep. Well, it ultimately happened, but we also met you a little bit before that as well when we were at Hinze Dam. I think you came out and visited Starlo out there while we were filming some old Hinze bass episodes and saw the whole thing in action. It was pretty impressive to see helicopters flying only 10 feet above the water.
Oh, look, it was eye-opening, mate. I'll be honest with you straight up. I was completely starstruck, I got a phone call from Starlo, and he said, "Look, come for a drive up Cania. We're filming an AFC Bass series. All the guys are here. You can meet Steve Morgan and ask him some questions about AFC." And I think I was out the door before I put the phone down. So I shot up there with my sister, and yeah, absolutely just saw this amazing production, and it was just phenomenal. There was 20 plus cameras, and you name it. As you know, there was helicopters, there was, you know, camera boats, there was tournament boats, there was anglers, there was everything. And it was just, for me, gosh, I don't think you could have lit or poured more fire or petrol on a fire, because I just went, I got to have a piece of this. You know, like it really, my eyes were open, and I'm happy to share that. I was totally starstruck.
Well, let's move forward to when you qualified for AFC and you got on. I remember you fished with Carl Jocumsen one year, and one of the enduring bits of AFC footage that I love is that jerkbait bite from Carl on a wonga. I bet you remember that as well too. Just run us through that scenario and how the little fella nearly got pulled out of the boat.
Look, it was hilarious, because obviously Jocko back then was, you know, a little skinny young fella, and yeah, exactly, you know, and the beauty of that was, and we didn't get to see all of it, but there was obviously a fair bit of work that went in behind the scenes of getting that retrieve right, because there was a lot of pause in that retrieve, and something that Jocko wasn't used to doing. So adding some sticky weight, getting the suspender to do exactly what it did, and within a handful of casts, obviously on the slack, the fish just belted the lure, and honestly, as the footage shows, it nearly pulled him out of the boat, and it was hilarious, but it was exciting, and I guess profoundly rewarding, because, you know, his eyes were like saucers, and, you know, he hadn't witnessed a bite like that, and to get it on camera was fantastic. So definitely a memorable moment in AFC.
Now you're I think on your AFC scorecard you did have one win up at Toowoomba, and if there's anything better than winning an AFC, it's winning an AFC on top water. Take us through that bite.
Yeah, look, that you're right, and I think probably my fondest memory would definitely be that win at Toowoomba. We were never in a position in the 2 years I was on AFC. By the time we got to BARRA, we were never in a position to be able to challenge for the championship, and that's just how it rolls. So we just tried to focus on doing what we done best, and I got my butt kicked by the Taylor boys down at Awonga. So obviously moving up to their home dam, I had plenty of motivation, but there was also motivation to beat those boys on their home water. So a tough dam, you know well, and a dam that can produce amazingly one day and hardly a bite the next. Pre-fish went okay, nothing like a wonga. A wonga was just off the charts. But getting back to that bite was, I was throwing slick rigs, and, you know, we'd done it tough all day. We had a few bites, a lot of soft takes, a lot of just, you know, short striking barra, chin strikes and the like. We went to that point, and essentially I got a fish on a cast, and it was like in the last 2 minutes of the day. And at the time, Jocko had a dog turd, what I call a dog turd on, which was just it was a tango dancer. And if you look at them in the water, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Jocko, and he actually says in that show, like, probably only got like less than a minute to go. So we're going, yeah, lobs the cast out, twitch, and then next minute, boom, when he's got this, you know, 70 odd centimetre barra on the board and he got it in the boat with less than 10 seconds to go. So it actually came, that last minute saved our AFC, you know, I guess, opportunity in that event, because prior to that, there was not a single fish boated. We had bumps and bites and just done it tough, but we just grinded it. And funnily enough, 2 fish and 2 casts in the final minute and a half of the day. It's stuff like that.
And you know what? He's pretty good at catching the fish that matter now. You would have been like the rest of us, like watching him at 10 kilo last year and just waiting for him to catch that last fish. He does it well when it's all going his way.
Absolutely. He certainly does. And, you know, Carl's got traits that I haven't seen in other individuals. And he brings a lot of his own success upon the fact that he's so open to listening to others, you know, and to learning from others. And you don't see that a lot in a lot of our top shelf, any athletes really, but you'd know this as well as I do, that Jocko will always have his ears open.
Yep.
And he'll always be, you know, taking on board and also putting his own spin on things. And with BARRA, it's why he's gelled so well. He always was able to take in important components. And, you know, I don't know if there was anyone else that would have been game enough to tie on, a tango dancer for the last cast of the day and pull a fish off like that. So, yeah, Jocko's got a lot of good traits, but, what you just said is exactly right. He's one of a kind.
Mate, tell us about your after your AFC, you became a BARRA guide, or it might even been during AFC you became a BARRA guide.
Yeah, it was during AFC.
A lot of time at Mondrian and Awonga, and you got to know those two lakes pretty well. It must feel good for you now to have, you've seen the lakes at their peak. They had their struggles when they ran over during the floods, but it seems like both of those lakes are coming back really strong now. It must give you pleasure to see from afar those fisheries returning to their former glory.
Oh, look, absolutely, Steve. And, I guess this is something I've been saying since the floods of 2010 that obviously wiped out my business and, effectively I started again, which that happens in life. But, probably the most pleasing aspect for me and the key element was that these dam levels dropped. And we just simply didn't see that for that first 6, 7, 8 years. Every, towards the end of every year, there'd be a spike in fishing activity. And all of a sudden there'd be words out, the BARRA back on, it's awesome. We'd get one small weather event and they'd be over the dam wall again and we would be status quo. So I always maintained, and I got asked this so many times on social media, when are they going to go back? What's it going to take? And I've always been, really clear on the fact that the moment these dams can sustain more than 1 or 2 weather events per season without going over, that enables the fishery to recover. And we've seen that. And now that these dams are at a sustainable level, we're starting to see that recruitment and we're starting to see those year classes develop. And of course, that's, that will return the fishery to some kind of, part of how those fisheries used to be, which were just, we never knew what we had, to be honest. Gosh, seeing those numbers of fish go over the dam walls and being part of some of those studies afterwards, and we just did not have a clue. The numbers of untouched fish in those impoundments was just absolutely phenomenal, especially Awonga.
Yeah, and nowadays, of course, with all of the sounder technology, we can see all those fish on the sounders now. So I don't know if that's good for your mental point or not, whether, you're not catching those barras coming underneath you. But both of those lakes have had some serious stocking in them in recent years, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right, Steve. And look, sounder technology is phenomenal today, with side imaging. And I think for me personally, if you're able to see fish and you're not catching them, what it means is you're doing something wrong. So you essentially need to change it up. In regards to the numbers of fish, yeah, absolutely. As we've touched on, the numbers of fish that are acquiring in those dams now that we've got a sustainable level and we're not seeing overflows each year, those year classes are just, basically, going from strength to strength. And that's how we saw the numbers in those 2 dams to start with. So, yeah, it's a big step.
Mate, and I've got one more question for you. You've spent a lot of time being a BARRA guide through the peak, I suppose, of these lakes, and you've seen them at the peak. If you were just to pick out one lure for each of those lakes, what would you be using?
You're going to hate me because you know exactly what I'm going to say.
Can't be the same one for both.
It can't be the same for both. Rightio. Well, based on the fact that Awonga has settled and points and weed edges are certainly back to, some kind of typical nature of a littoral zone of a dam, a jerkbait is always going to be, a number up there with a number 1, and it can be any type. It could be, a simple bomber. It can be one of the latest versions of, any of the extensions of, the gold bomber or a B-52, any shallow runner, through that part of the period of day, and obviously a deeper jerkbait if you're fishing in the middle of the day. If you're talking about one lure to do everything, I mean, I can't go past the slick rig just simply because of its versatility. It's just something that I know can be boring for some, but there is so many methods and different types of ways you can fish a slick rig. And for me, I think my biggest learnings came from using slick rigs. And I figured out back in early 2005 that there was a retrieve that no one was using, and it was just dynamite. And on days when you simply couldn't raise a scale, and that was just an absolutely flat out burn. My clients ended up naming it the Bonnie spin because essentially you'd wind that thing as physically fast as your ratios would allow, and that was something that triggered 1, the fish, but 2, triggered so many different thought processes for me in regards to catching the old lazy and tired, sleepy, fat, backsided barra.
Yep.
So that's the reasoning behind the profile of the slick rig enables you to do that, and that's a full weight, not the half weight. The full weight enables you to burn it as fast as you can. You can sink it down into 40 feet. You can catch, fish that are on the edges in 40 feet. You can rip it through weed beds. You can put stingers on it. You can make it, like the porcupine rig that the Taylor brothers come up with back in those days was, again, ahead of its time. And I wasn't even at that stage. I was adding hooks, but I was doing it in different ways. And then I saw what they were producing and went, I've got to come up with something like this myself, and made, put my own spin on it, like everyone's done. So it's just such an effective fish catching tool. But that said, I love catching barra on blades, transams. There's so many jigging techniques, deep water fishing at Faust, in 100 feet of water. There's just so many different great ways to catch barra. And I think that's what keeps people going back. You can do what you like, utilize what you want to, but, don't fall into the trap of making a decision you want to catch a fish on a top water lure without even being on the water, because you can throw top waters all day long. And if they're not feeding on top, it doesn't matter what you do. Unless you change, nothing's going to change.
Well, that's awesome, mate.
Pretty straightforward.
Great advice from a guy that's spent a lot of his life catching barra, mate. Thank you very much for joining us on ABT Lockdown Live, and hope it all goes well for you down in Tweed Heads there, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve. Been a pleasure.
There you go, Jace Wilhelm, 2 seasons of AFC and a whole lot of barra guiding in the middle. And I don't believe that I forgot to mention about the time that he fell in chasing his rod in the show. It was you'll see it on the episodes when you watch these episodes. They are live on our ABT channel to watch. You can watch the Jason episodes. Nicole, they've gone live already, or they're going to go live? Season 5 is fully up, so you can watch it. See if you can find the episode where he drops his rod and he just goes in straight after it. Saved a $600 rod, but drowned a $1,000 microphone. Thanks, Jace. Awesome work. Now, I still need Trent Collins from Nanango. I need your address, and I need... so I want to send the AFC shirt. Colleen Crofts, I need your address to send the Samaki kit to. And I have a winner for the West Australia comp. It's Benjamin Chun. He says, Blackwood River 100%. Benjamin, send us a message to our Australian Bass Tournaments Facebook page. Send us your shirt size and send us your address, and we will send the prizes out to you. Hey, it's been an interesting night on ABT Lockdown Live. New studio looks great. We tried some new gear. There was a lot of ads at the start because we had to tweak a little bit of stuff to make it work. Apologies to the Facebook viewers we had to bring across, because once we start a multiple stream, we have to stop them all to get it back on Facebook again. So we made you come and watch it on YouTube. We think it's a better viewing experience anyway. And just to clear the room like we normally do, and I'm going to check out now, but here is my room clearer for the end of the night. It's my day 1 highlights from Gladstone last year, and just quietly, you watch these highlights, tell me you don't want to go to Gladstone in a couple of months and catch bream all day on top waters. Here it is, Morgo's room cleaner, day 1 highlights, fishing with Jordan Armstrong, catching pikey bream on poppers. See you next time. Well, here we are at the second last Costa Bream Series qualifier for 2019 in Gladstone in central Queensland. First time ABT's been to this arena. Nobody really knew what to expect, and I really didn't expect to have a great day fishing on top water. My non-boater Jordan Armstrong got me onto the pattern early, and we shared a great day catching 36 fish. So this is fairly self-explanatory in the commentary. I'm going to leave you with my highlights from day 1 at Gladstone. Yeah, he jumped twice. I'll get the net. Is there a shark up him? Yeah, let's get him in. I'll get him.
No, I've got him just on the side of the head.
Oh, okay. He's all right. Good on him. Yeah, mate. Yeah. Pow.
Thanks, Steve.
Nice one.
Well done.
Your first pikey in an ABT. There you go. You know how to do it in all the deal. I've got the scorecards here. There's a ruler. Let's get the fork and tip thing out if you've got any dramas with the app. And if you want me to take a glory photo, I can do that for you. I'll throw a little PML cup face. Jordan is catching them on the cup face, so I am following. I just can't wait till the barra comes up and boofs it. It'll happen in this joint.
then it's like, how's your 6 pound leader going now? There's one. Come here, mate. Yeah. They're bigger size too on the top water, aren't they?
I found that these, and they seem to be all pikey.
Mm. Think so?
Well done. Way to go. In front of it.
There you go. Pikeys on poppers. That's what we're in Gladstone for. I've had those in the box for 10 years and haven't pulled them out, the old cup face, but they need that. They sort of need to be the attention attracted here, don't they?
Yeah, you've got to.
Yep, come over this side of the rock barrel, mate. In the rocks. Go and get him out. Here he comes. Come out. Out. Not huge by any means. It's all right though. Nice pikey. If you've seen pikeys before, they're quite dark. They've got a big black anal spine sitting there, blue blubbery lips, and they've got quite a high dorsal. There he is. Oh, he's around a rock. Come on, come back out around it. I'm just going to go in. See if he comes back around it. Oh, he's come back. He swam around a rock and he swam back out. He's only small. Yeah. I think I need the net for that. But they all count on the app. 230, 210.
Oh, look at him behind him, right at your feet.
Oh yeah, look at it. There's a whole pot of them. Oh, yeah. There's one decent one.
Yeah.
He's still there. He's still there. I'm not going to move. Come on, mate. He looks like a sooty. It's that dark. There's one. Over the rock. Yeah, he came over. He's not big, but still. That's a number. It's number 5. Even though it's little. He's a real black pikey, that thing. Real black. One of his posse will come back. Come, oh, that's a good fish. Come on. Come on, eat it. That one, he got it. He's got a bit of head shake on him, that one. That's pikey. That's a good one. Yeah, let him eat it as you go.
Behind it. Did you see him come up?
There's heaps of, there's a whole school of them. You set?
Well done.
Let's pop those power poles down again. All right. Upgrade time. Oh, these things would go all top water. Upgrade number 1. Oh, that's a good brim. Good brim. That is a big one. Look at them go. They fight hard, don't they? Actually, look out. He's just got smaller. That's good. That's number 4 for you, isn't it? Geez, he looked about. He looked like a kegger under the water. No, he'll be a good 600 though. Oh, just look at this. That's what happens in the back of the boat at Gladstone. Why didn't you come? Yeah. Yeah, it stayed around town, yeah. Oh, there's one. Little fella. So I'm just going to put the power pole down here. Oh, look at them all following him. Little mates. Oh, look at the bigger one trying to hit. There was some good ones there. Look at him. Black belly on these things. All of these fish, the data goes to Fish Health. So you're going to take photos of all of them. Oh, nah, he's little pipsqueaker. But I tell you what, he was excited about it. Something in there. I think it's pikeys. They're spooking.
Did you write your last one?
Yep. I got my system down pat now. 9:39. Little fella. Oh, it's a boil. You know you want to eat it. Eat it. That's a decent boil. Look at the slap. It's like a catty eating it. He's got it. Get out of there. Get out of there. This is a good one. Oh, if you've got a net, that'd be good.
I'm just bringing the rod and reel.
There you go.
Just watching. There's a bit of cotton or something in that net, and he's just. Oh yeah, there's little lips on him.
Yeah.
Blubber lip.
Oh, blubbery.
Well done. That's a great fish.
Let's just lift him over here, and I'll just lift him out, and you can get your.
Sure.
Right, yeah, you're good now. Yeah. Look at that thing.
That is a cracker. There we go.
Things are getting bigger in Gladstone. That upgrade's like a 20 centimetre one. He's the biggest today, I reckon. That's a pikey, I reckon. Nah, it's got light drag on it. Just trying to not get hit by the. If they do hit a rock, I don't want much pressure on the line because that's what pops it. Had a few of those this morning. Came and went, didn't they? With the around the rock, back, round, back. Oh, look at that. That was a big fish, wasn't it? His back came out. He seems big. Come here, mate. Just see his back come out. It was a black back. Maybe he's not that big. Maybe he just seemed big.
245 yours, these, bro.
Yeah.
I think you just yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Well done.
Thank you. Should be able to get a cast into there too, I reckon. Yeah, and he just hit the water and.
Yeah, I saw him.
Gee, pop! Look how black that thing is. Oh. Oh, fell off. One of his mates going to eat it. Oh, what a good strike that was. Probably can't see it on the live. It's 250 pixels, but that was a chop. It's like a little barra hitting it. Yeah. Oh! Look at him. That's a ball of big fish, that one. I reckon it's another good one. There was just, I reckon there was a school of them there. Get out of there, mate. I'm going to upgrade the hooks on this. I've got little barbless ones on. So no, nipping at it. I'm going to go to big boy hooks. You got one too? Look at it. Oh! The black back on that thing coming out of the water was ridiculous. Mine's not even that big. Yeah.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, they're probably not that big. It's just getting them off that meat.
All right, so we're having double hookups here now. This is it's a big long sand flat. There's just one rock pile hanging here. We've got about 4 fish off it so far, so
280?
let's get the little, 280 fork. There's big piles of pikeys on it. There he is. Oh, they're chomping it. There. Oh, another one slopping at it. You get like a pack of them behind it. Not popping anymore. Now it's popping.
Enough fish here that Almani has one. Hopefully.
You reckon? Well, I'll put that in the highlights for you.
Yeah, please.
All right. Oh, is that a boil behind you? Is it just wake? Oh, smash! Oh, shaking the head. Come out onto the sand, old mate.
Yours is lucky. You're getting them over the sand. Get them over the rock.
Yeah, I'm not throwing over the rock, man. That's stupid. It's a crazy idea. I don't think he's going to upgrade this one. It's going to pole. Nah, it's going to pole him.
Well, I'm sitting out double now, going up over the back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can see him.
Up. I see that swell, but before there was swim from there.
Still a pikey. That one looks a bit like a yellowfin because he comes off sand, but he's a pikey still. Right. Do that again. Down into Death Alley. Oh, there's another one. I think they're getting smaller. The first ones you catch are the biggest.
Exactly.
Well, he's not a pipsqueak, but... Well, maybe I will use a net on this one. Just pass it up, you keep fishing. Yours getting eaten, is ya? No. Another one. That's a decent fish. On the little popper. And in the background, Jordan's popper's getting belted. Oh, profit. Oh, look at the pack of them. Pack of them just ravaging it. There was one eat that you could see all the others coming over the top of the rock to have a go. I don't think it's that big. Oh wait, don't worry about netting him, but it's a good sign, all right? Yeah, no. He's an upgrade.
He just pulled it out.
On the toppy. Oh, you're on it. That's where they are. They're always somewhere.
Coming past you, mate.
No worries.
Oh, there's three. Look,
Yeah.
there's one behind you. Or is it a shark? Oh, get out of it. Oh no, it's a. You want me to hold him in?
I'm coming. No, oh, is he upgrade for you?
Yeah, I think he will be. But
Where is he? Behind him? Nah, they're all little ones.
I reckon
That's
surface gets the biggest fish.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
I'll have him. He'll be over.
He might be an upgrade. Thank you very much.
Sorry to get up.
Yeah, only halfway through the session. We're sweet. Oh, eat it. There he is. No. At the start of the day, we were netting them, but not now.
I noticed them.
Yeah, he's been shadowing it for a bit, that one. No, that was just the power poles dragging. It's all good. Oh, come on, look at him shadowing it underneath. He actually looks pretty good, that one. Not that little one. Where's the big one? No, it's not a big one. Is there a big one with him? No, they're all little. A lot of the pikeys have got that black spot under their guts, don't they? Oh, dum, 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 dum. No. Oh, come on, mate. I'm in trouble here. Looks like it might be a yellowfin. Oh, he's the big pikey. Oh, he's just a big pikey. Come here, mate. He's not actually that big. They just fight good, don't they? He's got that lure in the... I think it's an upgrade still. Actually, it might be a yellowfin. No, it's a pike. It's a pikey that looks like a yellowfin. He's all right, isn't he?
I think that's
Put that down. Yep. And he was off nothing in particular either, that guy. That's a nice upgrade, isn't it? Yeah. They definitely fight better than big blacks. Because that's 8-pound leader and 10-pound braid and tight drag. You know what? I'm happy I upgraded those hooks. Big flats dwelling pikey brim on poppers. How good is that? Find that patch. All right. OSP louder. Well, they cast all right. Jesus, they cast great. Okay, over the top of this. Oh, look at it throws water for miles. Oh, you're on and I'm on. Double hook up. Doubles! Yeah, he's out. I can see him. Oh, look at them all following him from... Oh, is that a good one behind him? Mine are trying to eat it out of his mouth, this school. Well, first cast of the louder. Doubles! Here, bring it up here, bring it up here. Come on, Joe. Doubles in Gladstone on top waters. Yes, if you are sitting at home going, I should have gone to Gladstone, the answer is correct. You should have. I'm about to finish this live stream. That was an awesome day. Throwing top waters. Jordan, how'd it go, mate? All right?
Thank you. Best day on that.
It was a good day. We got about 3 kegs apiece, and maybe what, 30 fish, I reckon. Easy 30 fish.
Back there, so yeah.
That's right, just 4 before the end. So if you ever want to come to Gladstone, we saw barras sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
We saw blue salmon,
Cod,
big queenies, barred grunners, everything. So I'm going to shut this down. All of the results on www.abt.org.au. They should be up now and going. I've kept a bit of an eye on the scoreboard, but we'll do a little bit of wiggling this afternoon, just double checking some stuff, and then as soon as they're official, we'll put a post up on the website and on social media. So I'm going to shut this off now. Thanks for coming fishing.